Alright, hello, my name is Malenix, and I'm going to be doing a little masterclass on FLStudio and production. So to start off, we're going to start off with the very basics. I've taken out all of the little windows. You guys might have like maybe the step sequencer here, or they like to call it the channel rack in this one. But I'm removing it just for the sake of simplicity. I want to make it as simple as possible, straight to the point. So first we're going to start off here. Just letting you guys know, I am using FLStudio 20, so mine might look slightly different, but it should be for the most part the same concept. So yeah, like I said, we're going to start here. This is your file settings. This is where you go to create your new files. You can save your files. You can do all your export for like your videos. You can do MP3s, waves, FLACs, anything you really want, to be perfectly honest. And over here is just like 10 of your 10 most recent projects that you opened, and then back up. In the background, FLStudio likes to save every 15 minutes just in case something were to happen, like, I don't know, maybe a computer crashed or something. So it's always a good thing to do. When it comes to the edit tab, that's pretty self-explanatory. The add tab is just for you to add controllers and stuff. All of this is either going to be added to your mixer or to your step sequencer. But personally, I don't use the add button at all, ever. As for patterns, I don't really use this either. But if you do plan on using it, like I said, this is actually pretty self-explanatory. For people that don't know, words such as transpose means like maybe you want to change key but keep all the notes relative to the same tone that they were in the other previous measure. But we'll get into that later. When it comes to the view, this is just literally the same stuff. These are literally the same buttons as over here. As for options, once again, that's pretty self-explanatory. When it comes to for you naming your songs and stuff though, you're going to go to project info. This is where you type in the title of your song, the name of it, you put in a genre, anything you might want to do, and maybe like a website or something to what you do. So now that we gotten through that tab, we're going to move on to the next one. This is the song and pattern button. When it's in song mode, that means it's playing what's in this thing. This is your playlist. This is how you like rearrange the patterns in your song. And that's kind of where like your whole song composition goes. And then pattern is literally just what's in your channel rack here. If you want to make a new pattern, you just scroll up and it gives you more than enough patterns to do whatever you need to with. Typically one of my songs consists of maybe in between 30 to 40 different patterns, not including like automation clips and stuff. And yeah, right here is self-explanatory. Play, pause, stop. Recording, and this is where you put your BPM. If you don't know the exact number of your BPM, what you would do is you go here and you push tap, and then you just tap it to the beat. And there you go, 115 BPM. Although I like to stay in between 130 and 140, maybe even 128 for like dance stuff. So we're going to do 128 just for the sake of this video. You can follow along if you want to. This is your metronome. So once again, self-explanatory. Once you stop, it stops. This button just means that when you push play, you have to push a button on your MIDI controller or on your keyboard before it actually plays. This one just means it gives you like a little countdown before you actually push record. This one just means that it'll go over what you previously had, and this one is just a loop recording. And yeah, all this does is make it so like if you can use your keyboard as like a piano. Hold on, let me, like if I load up a sample here, all this does is let me play it as like a keyboard. When you have that off, I'm pushing a key, nothing happens. Yeah. So now that we got that out the way, oh, and this is your time here. This is your time. And then this is tells you if you're peaking or not, but you don't want to use this one, to be perfectly honest. When it comes to your peaking meter, you always want to look at this one. You don't want it to go over 0 decibels, because if it goes over 0, that means that you're clipping. For people that know what clipping is when it starts to distort because there's too much gain on whatever instrument you have, and it just sounds really bad. It starts to distort and stuff like that. So yeah, you don't want that. So this one is the playlists. Like I said, this is where you make the arrangements of all of your songs. This is your piano roll. This is where you like make your melodies. Make all of your melodies and put all your chord progressions and all that stuff here. This is your step sequencer, or in FLStudio it's called the channel rack. This is where you put all your stuff. This is the mixer. This is where you put like all your effects and your reverb, all that stuff. Like anything you need to make it sound better and more full, you put in there. This is where you get like all of your samples or VSTs or instruments from. So I guess I'll show you guys something really simple. I'm gonna get a kick here. Just gonna find one. We'll use this one. Okay, so we have our kick here. You have options. You can either just click these little dots or little squares and put in the beat that you want it to sound like. So we have that. Let me turn off the metronome. You can either do it that way, or if you have something really simple like that, what you can also do is right click it and just fill each 4, and it does the exact same thing. Or what you can do is open your piano roll and do it manually. C5 is always going to be your default. C5 is always going to be like your default note. Like if I were to, let me show you. If I were to fill each 4 and then open it, it's going to be on C5. C5 is going to be your default note. That goes for every instrument pretty much. Even when it comes to like your samples, it's always going to be starting off on default. Like your default pitch is going to be at C5 always. So the way it works is you would put in like a beat. So I'm just going to do a 4/4 just because it's simple. And you look for your samples here. Very, very generic dance kinda. It's really basic, really generic. Now, there's something called layering. But we're gonna get into that later. But I'm just showing you the basics. So this is how you put in like your normal beats, right? Now let's say you want to add an instrument. I'm gonna let's use this one. So I'm gonna extend this longer so we have more room to play with it. So now we have an instrumental here. And what we do is we open the piano roll after we pick a sound. I'm just going to pick a normal preset at random. I'm just going to go this one. I have no clue what this is gonna sound like, but it's whatever. It's just a demonstration. So this is your piano roll. This is where you put all your notes in. And since I just pulled in my first instrument, we can make a melody here. So we have like a very basic thing here. You see, I forgot to extend it, so now I gotta make it further. In fact, I'm gonna just turn the clap off for now, because I'm gonna show you guys something. I shouldn't probably show this to you till later, but I'm gonna just show it to you now anyway. I'm gonna show you a technique called layering. This kind of has like a bass frequency to it, so I'm opening up. I like to just use an oscillator to make my basses, and personally I just turn this all the way down, and then I just drop it one semitone, or I'm sorry, not a semitone, an octave. I drop it down one octave, and then C5 is one octave deeper than it's supposed to. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it, but I'm not going to use it that way. I'm going to erase these and drag that out. Erase, drag that out. Erase, drag out. Erase, drag out. Now this octave was always, it's a little too low. You can't even hear it. Like if I solo it, you would need like really, really good headphones on, and even then that's a lot of pressure on your ear. So we're gonna bring that back up an octave. Still a little too low, so I'm gonna bring it up. Let's try C3. And that's too high, so now we're gonna just do C4, and this should be perfect. And there we have a bass. That is a technique that's called layering. These two are working together to sound better. So since they're the same premise for the most part, we're gonna put them in the same channel. So this is on channel 1, so I'm gonna put this one on channel 1 as well. I like to keep it together because it just keeps it more organized. And now I'm just going to, it's probably a lot to take in for like first time, but it has to be done. I like to go to filter and go here. This is where you do all your EQing for, you want to, like this is like the bass frequencies. We don't want too many highs. We want them there, but we don't want them to be drowning it out, if that makes any sense. Now with this part, you kind of just go off of your ear. These little red lines here tell you where all the frequencies are coming from. So you can see there's a lot of bass lines coming here, a little bit of mids. Your mids are about here. And you don't want to overdo it. Now this clap is way too loud. Compared to the rest of the mix, this clap is really too loud. So this knob here controls the volume of the instrument. And then this controls the pan. Left side, right side. So we're going to change this clap till it gets to a reasonable volume. And then you want to thicken that clap a little bit by adding just a little bit of reverb. Now that's way too wet. Now, for those of you that don't know what wet and dry is, I'll show you. That's really, really dry. This is dry. And then wet would be like super, I'm just gonna, I know this is over the top, but this is gonna be like super wet. Which is why, whenever you're recording your vocals, never, and I mean never, record your vocals with reverb on it. Because if it sounds like this, you can add reverb and wet in the vocal all you want. But once you, like, if you record it that way, you can't remove it. Like, you can add it, but you can't remove it from the actual recording. So you don't want to do that. Bass comes back in. And then from here, you just kind of get creative. Now, I always use pattern 1 just as where I put everything just to make it done. And then I clone it. And then that just makes it so that pattern 1 and pattern 2 are exactly identical. And I just remove it in a way that I can make it so I can progress it. So I might start off with this. I might just start off with this. And then in pattern 3, it might sound like this. You know, how you do that is completely up to you. And I'm going to go back to pattern 1. I'm going to add strings. Like I said, pattern 1 is what I use to just throw everything in it. Just to see, just so I can get all the ideas out. Alright, so we have E. Alright, so we have A. So I'm going to put an E here. That is what is known as a fifth. So it works together. We have A here, and we have E here. Once again, a fifth, but going down this time. Now we have a E here. This is a D. It's still in fifths. When you're going in fifths, you have E, you can use E, D, you can use A, where's G? You can use G, E, A, D, G. But I'm going to start for the E. Alright, E, G, A, C. All of them are fifths. They're not like fifths apart, but they are fifths. Like, E is relative to A is relative to D is relative to G is relative to C. Why do I know this? Violins. I don't know music theory too much. I'm working on it though, but I'm gonna put that as B. Now what I'm going to do here is copy the bass line. Gonna take this, copy. Well, not copy, but I'm gonna drag this down a whole octave. This is an A. This is an A. Copying the bass line. So now we have Now I'm gonna go into the bass and make it sound a little more interesting. So you can do that by changing the wave sign. You can change the wave shapes. You can change the pitch of them. You can detune them a little bit. Make them just sound weird. You just play around with it until you find something that you like. And that's all music is really about when it comes to software making. You literally just keep playing and playing and playing until you find out what you like. So. There you go. I like that a lot. That sounds really cool to me. So then I'm just gonna put all the strings back in. It accents it. It acts as an accent. And this is what we got. And that's the basics of how it comes to music. When it comes to like how you create it. You know, you just play around with it, find something you like, and just play with the volume. You make sure you make it interesting. You make sure they all work together in a way that it accompanies and doesn't... You don't want it to overlap it. You don't want it to take over. You just want it to work together as a team to make it... Think of it as like a game. You want everybody on your team to work together so you can win, right? It's the same thing when it comes to music. You just want to make all the instruments blend together nicely so that it sounds pleasant to the ear. Clap needs to be turned back down again. Now, you can see over here, this is your CPU, but we're not going to get into that yet. Okay, so if we go to the master, these are all your channels, by the way. For those of you that have never used the mixer before, pretty much this is your peak meter. It tells you if you're about to distort. You don't want that going over 0. Let me just give you an example of what happens when you go over 0. Like you see right here, it maxes out at 0. Sounds fine, right? Now let's show you what happens if it goes over 0. See, that doesn't sound pleasant. It's not pleasant at all. That's what you call distortion. That's distortion. You don't want that. You don't want distortion. So the way you limit distortion is you can either... Where is it? Gain. You can use a stereo shaper. You can filter it with the EQ and just do one of those. Just do that. I just turned the music down 15 decibels. Personally, I like to leave it at around Personally, I like to leave it around -3, -4, because that gives me plenty of room to like play with when it comes to the mastering. So yeah, you can see over here it's at like -4-ish when it tops out. Maybe -5. It looks like it's -6. But yeah, that is the very bare basics of pretty much what this is. You literally just do this one time on this pattern. If you want a pattern that's going to sound similar to this one, but you might change like a minor thing, you just copy, like you clone it by right clicking here and just cloning, and then it's an identical pattern once again. And you can change whatever you need. Like maybe you want to cut the bass in this one. You know what? Just for the sake of it, maybe you want to cut the strings too and the kick. Maybe you just want it to be just the clap. Oh, and for those of you that don't know what I'm doing, this is literally just like a mute button. When it's glowing, it means it's on. When you turn it off, it's off. Like here. When you push this in and it turns the green off, silence. Put it back on, comes back. That's literally all that does. But yeah, maybe you want to do it that way. Now once, alright, I know we don't have that many patterns. I know we have like 2-3 patterns. But just for the sake of the video, so we can end it, we're going to go here and open up your playlist. This is your playlist right here. Gonna click it. You can either drag and drop it, or you can just find your pattern you want, click. But yeah, I just drag and drop it there. Maybe I want to do it 2 times. Now when you want to change the pattern, you literally just click again, and there you go, changes pattern. So now when it gets to here, it'll go to that pattern where I took out everything except for the clap and the lead. And then we'll just go to pattern 3, and you know, you just keep it going. And you pretty much just keep doing that with all the patterns that you've created until you make it to the end of your song. So we'll just say this is the end. We'll just say this is the end right here. And what we can do is, you used to be able to set like automation clip for this, but they took that out. So now what you have to do is go to the mixer and go here and create the automation clip. Now I know a common way people like to end their songs usually is they will like make it quieter as it gets towards the end, so it would sound like this. You know, it just gets quieter as it goes on until it goes in silent and just fades away, you know. And you can also do the same thing with the tempo. So maybe you want to change the tempo of the song. Let's say maybe right about here. Let's say like right about here you want to, let's say you just want to slow it down a ton right here. And then you want to bring it back here. And it's just going to slowly get slower, and then it's going to quiet down once it gets about here. These are called automation clips. This is what allows you to like modify everything, and I mean everything. For the most part, if you can see it, you can automate it. Like for example, let's say you wanted to, I don't know, let's say you want to make a pan. You get the pan, you want it to go left and right in the song. In the song, you want the kick to travel left side, right side, left side, right side. What you would do is you would right click, and you would right click here too. And maybe you would put like let's say pulse. You want it going left side, right side, left side, right side. You would drag this down, and you would find a way to make it left side, right side, left side, right side. And there you go, left side, right side. Well, let me turn this tempo automation off. Yeah, left side, right side. Left side, left, right, left, right, left, right. It'll be more dramatic if you turn that up, so now you hear it a lot more clearly. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That's panning. And yeah, automation clips. If you guys have any questions about anything that I've shown, just leave a comment. I always read the comments. And yeah, that's like your bare basics of FLStudio and a couple little tricks here and there. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you want me to go over, anything that you want help with, just like I said, leave me a comment. And yeah, I'll make sure that I will answer it for you. Yehzra Music Project.